Well, what a magnificent day. Welcome to Real Action. I've got Barney and Jace on the boat here with me. We're heading offshore. Going to drop some lures down in some deep water and see what we can find. Wow. What a weapon of a thing that is, Barney. Hey? Great big sea snake. I'm not a big fan of snakes, anyone who knows me, but they are a magnificent creature. He's a pretty curious bloke, got his head up having a look around. Just one of the great things you get to see when you're out on the ocean. You got him on, mate?
Yeah, mate.
Hey!
Double hook up.
Go.
Oh, well, then you got the
nice,
big boy. I
buddy.
must have his baby brother.
Nice, boys. And I got bitten off out of all that. We should have a triple hook up. I got bitten off. He's hooked up. He's hooked up. And that's what we call real action. We've just come out. The wind has dropped off.
Oh, mine's just woken up.
And the day is magnificent. We're doing some finesse jigging, actually some micro-jigging with these with a couple of jig rods. Barney and I got a couple of new jig rods we're testing out. And it's working. I'm going to start the bait because we might have to go and get a bit of line back, I think.
How good's this micro-jigging, mate? Micro-jigging? Micro-jigging for monsters.
Oh wow, we got line just purling off everywhere here at the moment. So I work as a bit of a team here. I'm the unfortunate team member. I don't know where my rod's gone, but I ended up with a bit of leader. I ended up with a bit of leader that looked like that, so I got bitten off. But that's how it works when you're fishing with a couple of mates. Got a really good mate here, Jason, another fantastic mate here, Barney. They're both hooked up. I'm happy as Larry because we're having some fun. The weather's beautiful. I'm just doing a little bit of driving, and we'll just keep with these fish. One big thing and we think these are Spanish mackerel. I'm almost positive they're Spanish mackerel. The fact that I was bitten off is that they're not going to do you on anything. They're not going to dust you into the reef. And I see a lot of people, especially down south where I come from, they lose a lot of big Spanish. Just take your time. We're really lucky we've got that electronic anchor up the front, the electronic motor. We can drop it down when we're bait fishing or feeding liveys out. We can spot lock, and then we can just turn that off and follow the fish, land the fish and go back. But in this case, got the outboard going at the moment, idling along, and I'm just using the motor in and out of gear. I've got one fish out here, one fish out there, and we'll just cruise along and just take your time, because really, once the fish is hooked, if you go try and see that, that's a prime example. Now, if Barney goes ripping back at that when that line's pouring off, something's going to give way. And I'll just reverse you back that way a bit.
We going the wrong way, Michael?
That's all
No,
right.
I'm only joking,
Money on the line there,
No,
mate.
no pressure on you, mate.
I spooled that reel up. I spooled that reel up myself, buddy.
Oh, no. I just got all that back. There's a fairly big Spanish mackerel coming to the surface on my side. Oh, and he's got mates. This is a big fish.
Good fish. Look at this.
Mine's away.
You ready for land?
Yeah, righto. All right, motor's off.
Oh, have a look at the school of Spanish sitting underneath him. 3, 4 of them swimming past.
Wow.
Wow. Here he comes, mate. Not quite.
Reach, mate, one more time.
One more time. Been unconventional, but we'll go with it. Oh, you got him, buddy?
Mate, I've got him. All
Oh,
right.
look at you.
Look at
mate.
Woohoo! That's a cracker. Check him out. The most dangerous teeth in the business right there. That's probably 20, 25 pound of Spanish mackerel. And that's what we call micro-jigging. Look at that little jig just hanging out of his mouth. So he's thought that's a bait fish. That's what I'm after. The boys have been jigging, we've been fluttering down, and then just a little bit of high speed back out of the bait schools with our micro jigs. And look at that. Oof, Barney's fish is here too. Oh, another nice Mackie. I think, mate, I think Jace has got you, Chandy.
No.
I think that was a bigger one. I've just dropped Jason's back in a minute for a second to give it a bit of a drink. I'll grab hold of Barney's Mackie. Hey, number 2.
Yes.
There's another one on a micro jig, and had a couple of short strikes. So Barney's added a little treble there, and look at that. That's a beautiful looking fish. There's no doubt. when it comes to micro-jigging, there's a whole range of different jigs and weights that you can use in different depths. So we're using 40-gram jigs here at the moment. They go right down to 20 grams and right up to much bigger sizes for fish like kingfish, etc. But the idea is that you use these assist hooks, which they're the assist hooks there. That's them. And you tie directly onto the actual hook itself. So you've got the ring there and the assist hook, and then use a split ring to put on your jig. So great thing about that, you can take that jig off, put your hook onto your rod and travel without that jig flying around, and you can change it up. So if you get into shallow water, you can go to a smaller one, or if you think the fish are feeding on smaller profile bait fish, go smaller or bigger or whatever. As far as techniques go, drop that over.
Then
back.
straight back up through that bait school and clunk. So
you're thinking cobia, tuna, mackerel in that
yeah,
vein?
definitely on the way this is playing out, I reckon it's a mackerel now, because the tuna would have the circles going on by now, I think.
Yep.
So, but it does have some nice little head shakes. So it could, yeah, you see the tip of the rod doing that, could be a little tuna.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
Already got a...
Oh, there he is. Oh, get in there, bud.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Oh, dear. Woo!
mate.
He's trying to eat that.
He's trying to eat the net. Micro-jigging. Check that out. What a magnificent looking yellowfin. Well done, brother. Well, boys, micro-jigging is not just about demersal species swimming along the bottom like snapper and cod. It's amazing what's sitting just out of the bait schools that we're working. So when you finesse that jig out, give it a good hard crank up. And it's Spanish mackerel, yellowfin. You never know what you're going to encounter. All right, buddy, off you go. Go, mate.
Woo! Yeah.
He's gone.
Well done, man. Well done, boys. Woo. Good effort, champ.
What do you reckon? Bit of lunch?
I reckon.
Yeah, we will have some lunch. No rods for you anyway.